Good evening. Welcome to Inside City Hall for Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. I'm Errol Lewis. Charlie Kirk, a conservative activist and the founder of the influential right-wing youth organization Turning Point USA, is dead after he was shot during a campus event earlier today at Utah Valley University. FBI Director Kash Patel says that the suspected shooter is currently in custody. This shooting comes amid a spike of attacks on political figures throughout the United States across all parts of the ideological spectrum. Kevin Fry in our Washington, D.C. bureau leads us off with tonight's top story. Good evening, Kevin.
Yeah, good evening, Errol. And there's some new news in this scenario within the last half hour or so. Officials on the ground detailing at least preliminary information about what happened in this shooting. It was described as one shot being fired with one victim, that being Charlie Kirk, of course. All indications are that this was a targeted shooting and has been described as what, of course, is a tragic moment for the country. Notably, the governor of Utah, Governor Cox, I believe, said that this is, in his words, quote, a political assassination. This is a 31-year-old individual, 2 children, a wife left behind. Now, in terms of the reaction, that has been bipartisan backlash to this, condemnation from all sides of the aisle, starting with the President of the United States, who described Kirk as legendary, saying that no one understood or had the heart of the youth of the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he is no longer with us. Goes on and extends the thoughts and sympathies of his family. Top Democrats on Capitol Hill, including Senator Chuck Schumer, calling this, saying that political violence has no place in America. This shooting is horrifying, and I'm praying for Charlie Kirk and his family. And then Congressman Jeffries, top Democrat in the House, saying political violence is never acceptable. My thoughts and prayers are with Charlie Kirk and his family. Some other voices also weighing in. Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, reiterating, as you're seeing a theme here, political violence has no place in this country or any civilized society. This tragic assassination of a young man because of his political views should be condemned by all. We can't survive as a nation if Americans are afraid to exercise their freedom of speech. And Mayor Eric Adams also weighing in, saying political violence has no place in our country ever. Those who encourage it are enemies of America and must be condemned by every American. Enough is enough. Of course, the details as to who this individual is that fired, what their motivation was or is still outstanding as the investigation continues. Now, as you mentioned, though, Errol, this does come at a rather turbulent time for this country when it comes to political violence. In addition to this attack today, we have just within the last year and a half or so seen, among other things, a Minnesota state lawmaker killed. Obviously, the fire set at the Pennsylvania governor's mansion, and then, of course, the assassination attempts on President Trump when he was a candidate last year on the campaign trail. Errol?
So, in a lot of ways, I guess there are some political figures who are not resisting the temptation to assign blame, even though we don't know who the suspect is or what their motives might be.
Yeah, I mean, we still need to wait and see what the investigation leads to. Obviously, the governor very blatantly came out today and at this press conference within the last hour or so made this very clear that this was a political assassination. We still don't know who exactly the suspect is, even though the FBI director has indicated that someone is in custody, though there has been some confusion about someone being arrested and then not being the individual. Perhaps there's another person that they have in custody. We will hopefully, we presume, in the next few days or at least few hours, learn some more.
Okay, thanks very much for that update, Kevin. 2 opinion polls released today show Democratic nominee Zohran Mamdani with a clear lead against his rivals in the race for mayor, even in a one-on-one matchup against Andrew Cuomo. These numbers come a day after a separate poll showed a double-digit gap between Mamdani and the former governor. Our Dan Rivley has been monitoring the various candidates today, and he has the latest from the campaign trail. Good evening, Dan.
Good evening, Errol. I think these polls are showing that voters are really solidifying their preference In this race for mayor, with Mamdani really consolidating a lot of the registered Democrats and doing well with independent voters. And Cuomo, meanwhile, took the morning off the campaign trail. But yesterday, he did say that he believes the race will continue to tighten and in voters' minds see that this is really a two-person race between himself and Mamdani.
New Yorkers are hungry for a different kind of politics. They are hungry for a politics that puts working people first.
The Democratic nominee for mayor, Zohran Mamdani, reacting to another poll with him in the lead. That's whether he runs against three candidates with 43% of the vote to Andrew Cuomo's 28%, Curtis Sliwa's 10%, and Mayor Eric Adams' 7%. Or running against just one candidate, Cuomo, with 47% against the former governor's 40%. A Quinnipiac poll released Wednesday afternoon showed a similar ranking.
I was down 4 points to up 10. That's what the poll said. And, you know, it's a poll. There'll be a lot of polls.
That was Cuomo on Tuesday reacting to an earlier poll. He took Wednesday morning off from the campaign trail. The former governor tried to cast Mamdani as unfit.
New Yorkers hear Mamdani's positions. Defund, disband the police, legalize prostitution, legalize the drug trade, abolish prisons, abolish jails, abolish misdemeanors. New Yorkers hear that, they get scared.
And appeared alongside first responders who castigated Mamdani for doing a friendly interview with a left-wing live streamer, Hassan Piker, who once said, quote, America deserved 9/11. Mamdani on Wednesday.
What we can see is a candidate that is desperate to understand why he is so far behind a politics of the future.
Why do you hang out with guys like Hassan Piker? It's some nasty stuff, don't you think?
I'm here to talk about the World Cup.
Mamdani took his affordability message to the Bronx with soccer fans, calling FIFA to end dynamic pricing for World Cup tickets and put a cap on resale ticket prices.
Our message continues to be, whether we're talking about soccer or whether we're talking about rent, is how do we put working people before the greed of corporations?
Meanwhile, Republican Curtis Sliwa visited the World Trade Center subway station ahead of the 9/11 anniversary.
People like me. They know I'm a man of character. They know I'm a caring man. And I think that, in addition to my policies, which are so different than the others, will be my pathway to victory.
Mayor Adams, the incumbent in last place, acknowledged on a radio program that the idea he'd drop out is hampering his reelection.
Everyone knows I turned the city around. But what this does, it hurts my donors because my donors are unsure, so they're trying to hurt my ability to raise money. It hurts my supporters because they keep trying to just take away my campaigning.
And Eric Adams, again, on that radio program, denying that he would take a job in the Trump administration in exchange for ending his reelection campaign. Errol.
Well, I mean, but we know from our reporting that those conversations are at least happening. It's not crazy for people to suggest that this could happen, right?
Absolutely. You're right. The reporting shows there were meetings with a Trump administration official, and one of the jobs on the table was ambassador to Saudi Arabia. Now, to the extent he entertained it, that we don't know. He's saying it's not happening and even kind of poked fun at it, saying, well, there was reports I was going to take a job at HUD and then the ambassadorship. And so he's denying that because he wants New Yorkers to see that he is still in this. They could still vote for him. But of course, he is acknowledging that those headlines are putting a damper on these efforts.
Yeah, the Hassan Piker interview, I'm not familiar with it. I didn't listen to it. But was he talking about 9/11 and being sort of disrespectful or dismissive in the interview with Zohran Mamdani, or is this just something in that guy's background? That
quote was from a few years ago, I believe it was 2019. So that has dogged him, though. And that is just one of many provocative things. He's a live streamer, a live streamer like Hassan Piker. And even when Mamdani did that interview, there was a lot of questions because Hassan Piker is a very anti-Israel commentator. And so, of course, the questions then went to Mamdani about to what extent does he endorse that if he is seen here in a friendly interview with Piker.
Got it. Thanks very much for that update, Dan. Before we head to break, I've got a programming note for you. On Monday, September 29th, New York One will present a special live crossover podcast episode. It's going to be off topic, on politics, and You Decide, my podcast. We're going to do it right here in Chelsea. Our Courtney Gross and Bobby Kuza and I will all be hosting conversations. We're going to be joined by some special guests, and we hope that you'll be one of them. It's happening at Racket NYC. That's at 431 West 16th Street. The doors will open at 5:30 p.m. It is free to attend, but you have to RSVP. It'll be a great way to kick off the final stretch of the race for mayor leading into the general election. Head to ny1.com or the Spectrum News app for more information and to RSVP and get your tickets. Hope to see you there. We're going to take a short break now, and when we come back, the City Council voted today to override 3 different vetoes by Mayor Adams on bills aimed at expanding worker protections. We'll bring you those details in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
Every day tells a new story. At Mornings on One, we're dedicated to bringing you the stories that matter most to start your day. With in-depth coverage of the day's developing news.
I'm Pat Kernan. Here are the stories we're following this morning.
And weather updates every 10 minutes.
Some morning sunshine possible, clouds take over.
It's our responsibility to get you the information you need before you head out the door. Mornings on One, weekdays starting at 6 on the Spectrum News app. Free for Spectrum customers.
You want to wiggle the hips a little bit.
Keep your left arm straight.
Elbow in, head down.
Adjust your grip. Visualize the approach.
That was good. Next time we'll go out on a real course.
Next time?
It's all about connecting with the fastest wireless speeds from Spectrum. And internet customers get 1 mobile line included for 1 year.
I'm Sandra, this is Jorge, and we were adopted in 2019. I remember when they first came to us, Michael was already a teenager. The whole cliche of, they're so lucky to have you guys, and it's the other way around. They have changed our family for the better. They chose to love us. They didn't have to. They chose us. Family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org.
And that's a look at some of what's in the papers this morning. You've done with the sports section.
Today's story is about the latest chapter for a beloved local business.
It's a beautiful day with temperatures in the 60s, but showers are expected in the next hour.
In a city that's always on the go, it's important to stop to hear the stories that connect us.
The news that matters to New Yorkers. That's what brings us together. That's Mornings on One.
Weekdays starting at 6.
Exclusively on Spectrum.
Welcome back to Inside City Hall. The veto battle between the City Council and the Adams administration came to a head today. The council voting to override 3 vetoes by Mayor Adams on legislation related to street vendors and to grocery delivery workers. Our Ayanna Harry joins me now to break it all down. Good evening, Ayanna.
Here we go again, Errol. This is the latest chapter in that tense relationship between the mayor and the city council. The mayor tried to stop legislation that would have given a pay raise to people who deliver groceries and also decriminalize street vending. The mayor tried to stop the legislation, but the city council said, we're fighting back. So this is what the steps of City Hall looked like earlier today. Council Speaker Adrienne Adams was joined by street vendors and food delivery workers. And Speaker Adams announced she has enough votes in the council to override 3 of the mayor's vetoes from over the summer. And that vote did happen just a few hours ago. So despite the mayor's efforts, the following legislation will soon become law. Measures that will raise the minimum pay for grocery delivery workers. The mayor claimed this might lead to higher grocery prices in the city. There will be an expansion of protections for all food delivery workers, and criminal penalties will be removed for street vendors without a license. Speaker Adams said today that this vote was about protecting city workers.
Workers are the backbone of our city. Whether it is our delivery workers who provide convenience for New Yorkers in all types of weather like today, or New Yorkers trying to make a living as street vendors, the labor of working people must be valued and protected from exploitation and the extreme anti-working class agenda of the Trump administration.
These laws mean stability, dignity, and safety for tens of thousands of workers like me.
And just before the council voted to override the mayor's veto, there was a crackdown on vendors just steps away from City Hall in New York. One has the exclusive video. Go ahead and take a look. This is right outside of City Hall on the Brooklyn Bridge side, which has become a popular location for vendors, particularly since they are no longer able to sell on the bridge itself. One vendor told us they did receive a warning Monday from the city, and a council member questioned whether the enforcement action today was politically motivated.
A swarm of NYPD officers harassing street vendors who are outside right here every single day. And that kind of retaliation from Mayor Adams and his NYPD happening on the same day, just an hour before we're set to vote on this, to override his bill, override his veto, sorry. I ask you, does that seem like coincidence?
Monday they came, the police, and it announced that they don't want the cars here. They don't want the food cars vending around here.
And we did check in with the mayor's office. They strongly pushed back any claims that this was retaliation. In fact, they said this crackdown today was really came from community concerns and community complaints. And they added that law enforcement carries out enforcement actions like the one we saw today all of the time, Mayoral.
Yeah, those vendors in particular are an institution. I mean, they've been there at least a decade that I've, sort of taken my son by there to get hot dogs and sandwiches and all that kind of stuff.
And it's become a real destination for tourists, right? They come off of the Brooklyn Bridge. They've just seen the iconic skyline. They might be a little bit hungry, and so they can pick up a hot dog or a pretzel or water from those vendors. And I have seen the numbers grow since all of the vendors were pushed off of the bridge, and now many of them have found a new place to work there.
Okay, thanks very much, Ayanna. A judge is now blocking Mayor Adams' attempt to reopen the Immigration and Customs Enforcement office at the city's massive jails complex on Rikers Island. The judge said that the move presented a conflict of interest for the mayor, who has had his federal corruption case dismissed by the Justice Department. City Hall now plans to appeal that decision, and our Kelly Mena is here to explain why. Good evening, Kelly.
Good evening, Errol. Well, City Hall says there's still a path forward for them when it comes to bringing ICE back onto Rikers. They believe that on appeal, that a judge will agree with them.
Our decision was wrong. That's why you have appellate courts.
A court loss isn't stopping City Hall from ending its effort to allow federal authorities back onto Rikers Island. First Deputy Mayor Randy Mastro told New York One, despite the decision earlier this week, the city plans to appeal.
There is a right to cooperate with federal law enforcement, FBI, DEA, other agencies, in going after criminals, including the violent transnational criminal gang members who are now in our city.
State Supreme Court Judge Mary Rosado on Monday struck down the Adams administration's executive order meant to allow ICE back onto the jail complex. In the ruling, Rosado cited that Mayor Adams had an impermissible appearance of a conflict of interest off the heels of Adams' federal corruption case being dismissed. Rosado said Adams' failure to recuse himself fully tainted the entire process. She goes on to say the argument that the conflict was cleansed by delegating to First Deputy Mayor Mastro is farcical. Mastro is not independent of Mayor Adams, and he was appointed and delegated the specific task.
I did not talk to the mayor about this issue. He delegated it to me to decide, and I decided it. The only thing farcical was the political theater around the case by the city council to try and create a political atmosphere.
Local lawmakers took the Adams administration to court over the order, arguing it would further harm immigrants in the city. New York has become a target of the Trump administration's immigration crackdown, with people being detained and arrested at routine court appearances. City Council member Sandy Nurse, who chairs the committee that oversees Rikers, told New York One on Tuesday night.
This is good. This is good for our immigrant community. This is good for human rights. This is good to this is a great decision that will prevent us from participating in the mass deportation pipeline that Trump has worked out with Eric Adams in exchange for dropping his criminal charges.
And City Hall says that the latest ruling in this ongoing court battle did not speak to the merits of the case, which is making the city safer as well as immigrant communities by taking out violent criminals from the city. Errol.
Did the deputy mayor have anything to say about the efficacy, the effectiveness of it while they were there? What did they get by doing that they couldn't make happen by ICE doing whatever they've normally done?
You know, we didn't necessarily ask the deputy mayor that, but we did ask about this idea, you know, that they want to bring ICE onto Rikers to help with this violent criminal element that they say is here in the city. But they are pushing back against the federal government coming in when it comes to the National Guard. How can you have one without the other? And they say that it's two separate things for them. Obviously, when it comes to immigration enforcement, the mayor and his administration see it as something different and in the public safety bucket versus many of the other elected officials here in the city who see it as part of a broader plan of deportation and harmful effects here in the city.
Okay, thanks very much, Kelly. We're going to take a break now, and when we come back, Governor Kathy Hochul is touting a drop in crime in the subway system throughout the summer. We're going to bring you a report on that in 2 minutes. Stay with us. This election year is all about New York City. There are 51 council seats up for grabs, races for our next city comptroller and the next public advocate.
Plus, an unprecedented race for mayor. That puts the power in your hands to decide who will run our city.
Our team of political experts will be covering every angle of this election to keep you informed on how it could affect you, so you can feel confident with your decision at the polls.
Stay with Spectrum News New York 1 for Decision 2025, exclusively on Spectrum.
Okay, why Lucas should have a phone. 1, you can always get in touch with me. 2, think of all the new photos I can send you.
Get to the money.
Plus, with Spectrum Internet, we get 1 unlimited mobile line included for a year. I even used the Spectrum Savings Calculator. And you know what it said? Savings.
That was actually pretty good.
He's impressive.
Internet customers get 1 mobile line included for 1 year. From Spectrum.
Mom was always organized, but she started forgetting to pay her bills on time. And she'd buy the same gifts over and over.
Telling the girls about my Alzheimer's diagnosis was really hard.
At first, we had our cries, but then we were like, okay, let's make a plan. Early detection gave us time to adapt together.
It's so important for you to think about what you can do and making the most of what you have.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
From my time growing up in Queens watching New York 1 to my time reporting here, I've seen how quickly a story can change. At News All Day, we bring you the news as it's happening, from around the boroughs to local government to your neighborhood. Because our city never stops moving.
3, 2, 1.
Hi, I'm Shannon Ferry with the day's developing stories. But first, stay up to date and informed with News All Day, weekdays from noon to 4.
Welcome back to Inside City Hall. Governor Kathy Hochul says that increased police patrols underground are responsible for what she is calling the safest summer in the subways on record. New York 1 Transit reporter Samantha Liebman has the details.
Governor Hochul taking credit for the subway seeing record low crime in July and August.
This summer was the safest summer in at least 15 years. Extraordinary. Safest July, and now I'm here to report officially the safest August in recorded history.
According to the governor, between June 1st and August 31st, major felonies were down nearly 10% from 2024, and there was a 21% reduction in assaults over last year. The governor crediting safety measures like platform barriers, LED lighting, more outreach to the mentally ill, cameras, and increased police presence, which riders say they appreciate.
So I think that's maybe helped mitigate people's fears about the subway, that there are more officers that are around and makes them feel a lot safer.
And that's a message Hochul has taken note of.
We're going to continue the overnight patrols that were actually intended last January as a very temporary measure. New Yorkers tell me they feel safer when they see officers on board, so we're going to continue doing that for the months to come.
There were questions about whether the city would continue to fund it, but Governor Hochul says the initial $77 million the state contributed will help cover the overtime for now. However, some riders who also remember the 70s and 80s say the subway still doesn't feel safe.
Numbers. But numbers is not everything because a lot of crime don't get reported. A lot of mental illness needs help. People need help.
The governor says the number of scout teams or mental health clinicians paired with MTA police is up to 10, and she believes it is making a difference in getting those who needed help. But there is not enough data as to whether recent changes to the law, which makes it easier to involuntarily commit someone, is also helping.
We're doing a lot more to bring the seriously mentally ill indoors. And I talk to riders, people notice that there are fewer of those really extremely suffering people in the public space.
Noticeably absent from this press conference was the NYPD, but I did speak to the chief of transit earlier in the week, who told me that they are using those overnight patrols more strategically, and that is also helping reduce crime overnight. At Grand Central Terminal, Samantha Liebman, New York 1.
It is time for a break. Coming up, we'll talk more about President Trump's involvement in the race for mayor when I'm joined live in studio by businessman John Catsimatidis. That's coming up next. Stay with us.
My time at New York 1 has shown me that in the city that never sleeps, the news never stops. So as the day winds down, turn to the rush hour.
Good afternoon, I'm Monica Burton.
To catch up on the stories that matter across the 5 boroughs, with in-depth interviews from the city's newsmakers, plus the latest forecast. Catching you up with today, preparing you for tomorrow. Right here on the Rush Hour. Weekdays from 4 to 7 p.m.
Watch this. I can make it hotter, I can make it colder. Hotter, colder from my phone. Smart birdhouse. Yes. Even the birds have Spectrum Wi-Fi. Who likes treats? You do. That's right, yes you do. Very impressive, son. And one more. Nice.
Can I change colors?
Launch party mode. Yeah.
It's all about connecting with the fastest, most reliable internet from Spectrum.
I'm Chris Jackamick. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is, my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately, in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jackamick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. My service never stops.
At Spectrum Noticias, we recognize that our New York City community is vibrant and diverse.
Spectrum Noticias delivers balanced coverage of the stories that matter in our communities and across the country.
Our journalists are based in the neighborhoods we cover, ensuring you get in-depth reporting on what's happening in the places we call home.
So join us at Spectrum Noticias. We're always on, always there for you.
Now available on your TV. Check your local listings. Also available on the Spectrum News app.
The job I want is to be the mayor of the city of New York. That's the job I want.
He's certainly not polling well.
No.
Now, if you had 2 people drop out, could somebody win? The answer is maybe, but even that's going to be a little bit of a long shot, I guess, based on the polls.
Welcome back to Inside City Hall. Mayor Adams continues to insist that he is staying in the race for mayor after denying reports that he could bow out of the race and possibly take a job in the Trump administration. In recent days, the mayor has dodged questions about whether he would be meeting with White House officials this week. President Trump, meanwhile, has denied speaking with Adams about dropping out of the race, but has repeatedly said that he believes the best way to defeat Zohran Mamdani is in a head-to-head matchup. Joining me now to talk more about that is somebody else who believes that. John Catsimatidis is the owner of the Gristedes grocery chain and chairman of the Red Apple Group. He also hosts the Cats Roundtable, a talk show on WABC Radio, which he owns. Welcome back to the show. Good to see you.
Well, Earl, thank you for thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Let's start with some of the news of the day. Did you know Charlie Kirk?
Charlie Kirk worked for WABC in 2021 and 2022, and when his contract was up, we replaced him with Curtis Sliwa. It was 12 o'clock noon time to 1 o'clock because Curtis was just a member of the WABC family.
Sure, it's such a shock to see.
It is very, very sad. And you know what I think, Earl? I think, 9/11 united the American people. I think this could unite the American people again because the American people have been divided for the last few years. And I hope, because we're all Americans. And look, the migrants that came in, if 10% of them, if 5% of them were bad people, if 5 million came in, if 10 million came in, I say I don't mind. I was the chairman of the Ellis Island Foundation. We want immigration, but we don't want invasion. So the only disagreement I had with the Biden administration is, why let in the drug dealers? Why let in the murderers? Why let in the killers? And that's what I was afraid of. So I recommended to the president when I saw him a couple weeks ago. I said to him, maybe we should double the amount of FBI agents. We have to protect the American people, and that's my position.
I read some of your autobiography where you talked about your experience as a proud immigrant and somebody who loves America. Are you concerned that I think for the first time in American history, the number of people coming into the country has fallen below the number of people leaving?
I believe that I'm concerned the birth rate in America. The Europeans are concerned about the birth rate in America because the migrants that moved into Great Britain, the migrants that moved into Germany or France, they're having 14 kids each.
Sure.
Meanwhile, the Germans, the French, the British only having 1.5. So if those migrants that moved into Europe are having 14 kids each, at what point do they outvote the Germans? At what point do they outvote?
Well, but let's talk about America. I mean,
let's talk about
if we have immigrants coming here, America has tended to grow. But here again, it's slowing and it's even reversing, and that is part of what the president wants through this mass deportation campaign, right?
Well, not the deportation necessarily, but bring in people that want to assimilate and become Americans. My grandfathers came in 1913. They wanted to work 70 hours a week. And you know why there's no Greek diners anymore? Because the Greek diners, they work 70 hours a week, 90 hours a week, but they sent their kids to become accountants, doctors, lawyers.
Radio station owners.
And radio station owners.
And so forth.
And that's why. And look, we want America the way me and you grew up. That if we bring in migrants or immigrants, we bring them in, we want them to assimilate to become Americans, not for them to change America.
Let's talk about somebody who came here as a young man, Zohran Mamdani. You were in the category, you gave a press conference not that long ago saying, whatever else happens, all of the other candidates should get together and figure out which one of them can defeat him. Every poll that we've seen, 3 in the last 2 days, suggests that that doesn't seem to be happening. And at least one of these people is your employer, is your employee, I should say, Curtis Sliwa.
Well, Curtis,
what's the state of this question now?
Curtis's family, and I wish the best for him. Eric Adams, I know he's been mayor for 4 years. The Cuomo family I've worked with for the last 30 years. So my position was anybody but Zohran, because I don't believe in socialism. I believe in Governor Hochul was in our Southampton breakfast that we have every Saturday with Father Alex. And what do we do? She says, New York City is the capitalist capital of the world. President Trump said the same thing. And we don't want socialism. Look, I was in Cuba.
And you've met with Fidel Castro. You've had dinner with him.
I have dinner with him. He's a very nice man. He smiles well. Zohran, he smiles well. I have no problem with it. But I had an old Jewish German mentor, and his comment was, it is reasonable to assume a person will do tomorrow what he did yesterday. And if you look at all of Zohran's videos, he wants to change New York. He wants to change America. We want America the way me and you grew up. I want America the way maybe when I grew up, Ozzie and Harriet.
But you know,
Father knows
John
best.
Catsimatidis, you know what mayors can and cannot do. They're a public employee. They're term limited. The mayor has to.
He can destroy the police department.
Has to get cooperation from the state, from the courts. There's collective bargaining. There are legally binding contracts that he signed.
But he can destroy
the federal government.
He can destroy the police department. He can destroy the Department of Education. He can destroy.
Have you met with him? Do you have a sense that that's what he wants to do?
I've talked to him on the phone.
You think that's what he wants to do?
I remember what I said. My old Jewish mentor. It is reasonable to assume a person will do today what he preached about the last 5-10 years.
Well, the government-run grocery stores, I got a big kick out of that because I know you've had some commentary on it.
I'll sell mine.
And you know a lot about this, right? I mean, tell me if I'm wrong about this, but what I've read is that some of your Gristiti stores are in they're commercial tenants in real estate that you own. So that they don't necessarily have to turn a profit because we're always talking about like 2% margins on grocery stores.
Right now, you know, I got to keep pronouncing your name right. Errol. Errol. Right now, we're not making 1%, 2% margin. You know why half the drugstores have left New York? You know why half the supermarkets have closed down? Because we're not making plus 2%. We're losing 2% right now. Everything is locked up. Everything is locked up.
Yeah.
And people, we're paying the highest electric costs in the country. We're paying the highest rents in the country. We're paying the highest wages in the country. We're all union wages. And congestion pricing.
So if
you know who pays the congestion pricing?
So if a government-run store wanted to absorb some of those costs, they could in fact bring some of the prices down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what? I'm going to fight City Hall?
No.
That's it.
No. Okay. Very interesting. What is the state of this question? When you look at the polls, I mean, it seems to me we're almost at a point where even if almost everybody dropped out of the race and there was only one opponent to Mamdani, some of these matchups, according to these polls, it looks like he would still come out on top.
Earl, I think that what President Trump has said to me a couple of weeks ago, and what we talked about in July about Cuomo, looks like it should be one-on-one with Mamdani. And maybe he's right, and maybe it should be Cuomo against, I don't know. Look, I know Eric Adams. All three of them would make fine mayors. But if let's see, I think Eric Adams said he's going to do a new poll on his own to decide what he wants to do.
If for whatever reason Zohran Mamdani does prevail and gets sworn in, is he somebody, speaking as a businessman, that you could do business with?
I don't know. But don't forget, 1% of New Yorkers pay 48% of the taxes in New York City. If half of those 1% leave, guess what? New York goes poof.
Well, you're not going anywhere.
I love New York.
You got a grandson here. You got businesses
I
here.
love
You
New
like
York.
it here. Yeah, you got a radio station here. In all seriousness, have things reached that point? Because you wouldn't leave. Nobody would leave unless they thought they were getting a better deal somewhere else.
I can take care of myself, but I worry about my kids walking around. I worry about my grandson walking around with his Meg, his mom. So I worry about them. I can take care of myself, you know. But I worry about our friends.
Okay, no, that is our job. We are here to worry, and we'll hope that everything works out well. Great to see you. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you.
Okay, let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation on the state of the race for mayor when I'm joined by my politics panel. Stay with us.
If it's the theater you love, then we've got just the ticket. On Stage is your all-access pass to Broadway, off-Broadway, and the best live entertainment in the city. The interviews and backstage exclusives. All that's made On Stage the go-to source for entertainment for over 20 years. Join us every Saturday and Sunday at 7:30 p.m. for On Stage. Also available on the Spectrum News app. I'll see you at the theater, exclusively on Spectrum.
Your entertainment the way you want it. With Spectrum TV, all these streaming apps are included at no extra cost. So you can watch anything. Movies, series, sports, reality, news.
Here's a look at today's top stories.
Exclusive originals.
We await your orders.
And even more of your favorites with live TV. Stream across your devices and enjoy anywhere.
See you later.
Get it all with Spectrum TV.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.
My father was a New York City firefighter. My mission, like his, is to serve New Yorkers in a city that doesn't stop when the sun goes down. Being with New York One since the beginning, I'm now honored to join you even earlier each weeknight. Starting at 8 with New York Tonight, we'll explore the latest news developments, followed by New York One at 10 to wrap up your day. So join me each weeknight starting at 8 right here on New York One.
Welcome back to Inside City Hall. This week, we've seen not one, not two, but 3 university-based polls asking likely voters in New York about the race for mayor. All of the results show the same thing. Democratic nominee Zohran Mamdani is well ahead of his rivals, and all 3 polls also show that Mayor Adams is in 4th place. Joining me now to talk about that and much more is my weekly politics panel. Zohran Mamdani is a senior reporter covering city and state politics at Bloomberg News. And joining us, as he does every Wednesday, is New York One political commentator Gerson Barrero. Thank you both for being here. So is this hypothetical idea of a consolidated anti-Mamdani ticket, is it likely? And at this point, given these numbers, would it even make a difference?
Well, I think some of the commentary that we've heard over the last couple of weeks to the effect of both Curtis Sliwa and Eric Adams would need to pull back from the race in order for Cuomo to have a chance under this current environment, and these polls sort of bear that out. Even if Eric Adams were to drop out, it still wouldn't put Andrew Cuomo over the top in this contest. He would need to get Curtis Sliwa's voters as well in order to be competitive. And as of this moment, both Curtis Sliwa and Eric Adams say they're not dropping out. Tomorrow is the official deadline to get their names off of the ballot. So even if they drop out at a later date, they're still going to be there as an option for someone to check the box on, even if they aren't actively campaigning. And so it's still, I think the anti-Mamdani coalition is still, the chances are narrowing by the day.
Do you all remember June 24th, what happened? Primary, ranked choice voting, and everybody, all the polls up until the last 1 or 2 polls who actually showed, I mean, Andrew Cuomo running away, and this kid, this novice, this young assemblyman with all the negatives, he beat the crap out of this veteran. And so I'm not trusting the polls, Errol. Laura, I'm just not going to depend on that. The actual poll is the big one when New Yorkinos will say on November 4th, they say. And plus, there's still time. I don't believe that anybody should drop out. If Mayor Adams doesn't have la vergüenza, you know what la vergüenza is? To have the shame of yourself, looking at yourself. Look at who you've turned into. You're the last one on this. That's why you didn't run for the Democratic nomination in your own party, because you knew you were going to lose badly. So have some self-respect. Get the hell out. Not because Andrew Cuomo will be better. And Curtis Sliwa, I just say one more thing. He's earned it. He's earned that. And whether we like him or not, Republicans have their own candidate. Leave Curtis alone.
Okay, let's move on. Last Friday, in response to rumors that he might be planning to drop out of the race, Mayor Adams called reporters to Gracie Mansion and had some harsh words for Andrew Cuomo.
Andrew Cuomo is a snake and a liar. I am in this race, and I'm the only one that can beat Mamdani. Andrew has had a career of pushing black candidates out of races.
just gets me sick. He's done it with reporters. You know, it isn't that he's against you because you're black. I don't want to really say what I've heard on the street about you, you know, a rat with two legs, but that's besides the point. Come on. He's not a racist. Maybe a snake. That's between you two guys. But he has helped you. He helped you in your administration. He met with people that you needed, and deputy mayors are there. I know the story. I've never told it. So come on. That's below the mayor.
It's not because you're black. It's because you're in his way. I think it's the
exactly. That's it.
Does anyone else remember? I was right after I started at Bloomberg, maybe like January 2022, February, when Cuomo was meeting with Adams at like La Valla.
Yeah, something like that.
And it was like Cuomo was at the lowest of the low. People were like, how could you go out to dinner with him? How could you meet him? And it was like, why are you trusting this man? Don't you think there's a possibility that he might be after your job? And Adams was he was one of the few people willing to be sort of seen out in public with Andrew Cuomo at that point in time. And so the snake comments just really remind me of that. It seemed like Adams was providing an olive branch to Cuomo,
and the snake bit him back.
Well, never sleep on Andrew Cuomo. You're right. Don't trust the polls. This man is running a very different campaign and seems to be more energized by the thought of actually losing. And he will not rest until he has done everything that he can to win the race.
You know, you raise a good point, because on one level, that outburst by the mayor, on some level, didn't make that much sense to me. He was saying he's a liar and he's a snake. I said, well, what did he lie about and what does it matter? I mean, there are all of these rumors that we know for a fact the mayor's people are reaching out to people in the White House and they've been trying to arrange this deal. So if Andrew Cuomo mentions it, well, it's common knowledge at this point. That doesn't make him a liar. It seems to be accurate, as a matter of fact. What did he lie about? The mayor didn't take any questions, but it seems like that betrayal from what Cuomo had said publicly and privately is what he was referring to.
Yeah, he had said initially that he wasn't going to run unless Adams was out of the race. That ended up being the case when Adams dropped out of the primary, but Cuomo got in before he had even dropped out, and that was he changed his tune and he saw his opportunity.
Whatever agreement they had, we don't know about it, and they'll keep it to themselves, so they'll keep, you know, trashing each other, and then we'll have Mayor Mamdani take over.
I was going to say, I mean, it has implications for this idea of consolidating behind one candidate. I mean, that's the one thing you can be pretty sure at this point is not going to happen. I mean, I can't quite see the press conference where, you know, Adams and Cuomo are, you know, holding their hands up in the air and one of them is being endorsed by the other.
Those days are over, when those kind of things between gentlemen, you had differences and all that, you would stand and endorse the candidate. That ain't happening. It's not happening because of the leadership. Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer, how he vacillated the other day in Washington, D.C., the statements that are made, they're not comfortable with Mr. Mamdani. I don't think, they're going to wait it out. I think for the first time, they may not endorse because of the leadership and the implications. Everything is national. And I keep reminding Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, you were elected here, so be careful with that.
Okay, let's take a short break. We've got more to talk about with this panel. We'll do that after a short break. Stay with us. Here's the deal. People need a place to explore national issues that have an impact on their community. To understand those issues better, we're bringing together our team of local political journalists from across the country to break down what's happening. So join us every week to catch up on the key stories making a big difference across the nation and in your local community.
Watch The Big Deal with Errol Lewis Friday nights at 9 on Spectrum News New York 1. Available on all of your favorite devices exclusively on Spectrum.
My name is Gail, and we are in my showroom for Florist Fire Design House. Getting Spectrum set up for my business was extremely smooth. They had it set up within an hour, and I was online and ready to go and run my business. Spectrum helps me stay online. You know, I have to be able to be online at 5 a.m. when the market's open. Without Spectrum, it wouldn't be possible.
Get up to 4 months free when you bundle award-winning internet. Visit spectrum.com/business to learn more.
Every day tells a new story. At Mornings on One, we're dedicated to bringing you the stories that matter most to start your day. With in-depth coverage of the day's developing news.
I'm Pat Kernan. Here are the stories we're following this morning.
And weather updates every 10 minutes.
Some morning sunshine possible, clouds take over.
It's our responsibility to get you the information you need before you head out the door. Mornings on One, weekdays starting at 6 on the Spectrum News app. Free for Spectrum customers.
Welcome back to Inside City Hall, where I am once again joined by my politics panel. We have Laura Namias from Bloomberg, and we have Herson Barrero from New York One, a contributor here. Let's talk about the federal troops. President Trump has vowed to send federal troops to New York and to other cities in order to speed up his mass deportation campaign and allegedly to battle street crime. All three candidates for mayor have said that they will resist any such effort. But which candidate or candidates do you think would benefit most if that becomes an issue in the race between now and Election Day?
I think there's so many issues that are going on. I don't think that New Yorkers are really paying attention to any of these, the people that are going to the bulk of them. They're dealing with the schools opening. They're dealing with cell phones banning. They're dealing with the subways not being safe, the crime wave that is happening, people getting killed, police officers. I mean, how can you expect for a crazy man or demented person going into a precinct and being killed by police, I mean, in the wee hours of the morning? I don't think people are paying attention to issues other than bread and butter and safety. That's it. And anybody talking about, you know, free buses or, you know, not rent being frozen, which only affects her, or Andrew Cuomo with his new plan about what he's going to do for schools, I don't think that's real. There's some basic issues of safety, security, and can I get my kids to school in a safe way, and can I get to my job on time by good service in the subway system? I think those are the issues that are bread and butter issues.
It's interesting, Eric Adams may have already ruined his chances of looking independent from Donald Trump in any way, no matter how many press releases get sent out about filing an amicus brief against the Trump administration over the loss of some funding or efforts to appear to be independent and push back against Trump initiatives. They've still continued to take things away from the city, including Head Start funding, things like that. So setting him aside, there is this constant conversation happening right now between Mamdani and Cuomo, definitely, where each is trying to paint the other as the worst for the city on Trump, but in very different ways. Cuomo is trying to say that Mamdani is going to draw the ire of Trump and doesn't have the skill set to push back. And Mamdani is trying to point to the fact that there is a significant amount of crossover between people who are supporting Andrew Cuomo financially and people who back Donald Trump. And also some of the reporting in the New York Times about how Cuomo thinks that Trump is clearing the field for him to win.
I mean, the strange thing to me is the ire is coming. It doesn't matter who the mayor is.
Yes.
It's true.
If the president wants to come into New York, that is what he is going to do.
He's supposed to be in New York tomorrow for 9/11, and then at Yankee Stadium. He may be throwing out the first ball, or he may be the first ball that they throw out. But the fact is that he is with a New York presence. He's here because he's got properties here. His children, his son goes to school here, his youngest son. There are a lot of interest. He may be physically out of New York, but there's a lot of dinero involved in real estate, which is a major, major concern. And a lot of these billionaires we speak about that Andrew is addressing. So even if Andrew doesn't have a direct contact with the president, he does have his interests at heart.
You know, interestingly, legally, he has to move out of Mar-a-Lago for part of the year. He can't live there full time. It's part of
I didn't know that.
Of how that works. Yeah.
He has to live in the White House?
You can't, well, you got to leave. It can't be used as a year-round residence. Let's talk about these Epstein drawings. The White House was caught in the kind of lie that you really can't walk away from after they insisted that President Trump never wrote a creepy letter to celebrate the 50th birthday of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The House of Representatives subpoenaed Epstein's estate, and sure enough, the book does exist, it turned up, along with a warm but sleazy note from Trump that concludes with this mysterious quote, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret," close quote. Is this going to weaken the president's connection to his base? Because the base seems very, very upset about these connections to Epstein.
It's hard to say. Every time someone predicts that something is going to weaken his connection to his base, it doesn't seem to work out that way. And then in a universe in which every fact is contestable and there are no facts and there are realities and alternate realities and truths and other truths, it's hard to deal with a person who says that's not my signature, even when all evidence points to the contrary. I mean, the really interesting thing to me from actually seeing the drawing, I was wondering if it was ever going to come out, is that, I mean, it's a little bit more like abstract and kind of Picasso-esque than I was anticipating it would be, despite the description. And he sort of joins this long line of presidents who are prolific doodlers, including Ulysses S. Grant and Ronald Reagan. And I encourage people to look it up if you don't believe me.
Laura,
It wasn't what I was expecting.
Laura, what are you're encouraging him? We're going to have a book of little sketches because you encourage him. It's your fault, Laura.
The man is a doodler.
He's a doodler. He's a doodler in many ways. But let me just tell you this. I find it so disgusting on the people that are upset with him when they're the MAGA fools who actually got this criminal into the White House, this convicted felon, this offender. It wasn't 1, 2, 3, 4, not even 11 or 12, they're like accused Andrew Cuomo. This is 30 people, women, who were sexually abused by this guy, and they support him, and religious people, because he is here on a mission from God, just like Eric Adams.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
We shall see.
Yeah.
Thank you both for coming by. Great talking with you. That is going to do it for tonight's show. Be sure to join us tomorrow when my guests will include Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado. Until then, thanks for watching and have a great evening. We'll see you next time inside City Hall.
And that's a look at some of what's in the papers this morning.
You've done at the sports section.
Today's story is about the latest chapter for a beloved local business.
It's a beautiful day with temperatures in the 60s, but showers are expected in the next hour.
In a city that's always on the go, it's important to stop to hear the stories that connect us.
The news that matters to New Yorkers. That's what brings us together. That's Mornings on One.
Weekdays starting at 6.
Exclusively on Spectrum.
My name is Gail, and we are in my showroom for Florist Fire Design House. We are a full production wedding and event company that focuses on florals. Getting Spectrum set up for my business was extremely smooth. They were here the same day, had it set up within an hour, and I was online and ready to go and run my business. You know, I have to be able to be online at 5 a.m. when the market's open. And if I'm contacting a merchant via email or placing an order online, without Spectrum, it wouldn't be possible.
One more row.
Spectrum is reliable, they're committed, they're fast, and they really take care of me as a business owner. Last year, when the really bad hurricane came through, our internet stayed the entire time. One of the businesses down the street, she was like, wait a minute, how are you still online? And I was like, Spectrum, baby. You gotta get Spectrum.
Get award-winning internet for your business. Up to 4 months free when bundled. Visit spectrum.com/business to learn more.
This election year is all about New York City. There are 51 council seats up for grabs, races for our next city comptroller and the next public advocate.
Plus, an unprecedented race for mayor. That puts the power in your hands to decide who will run our city.
Our team of political experts will be covering every angle of this election to keep you informed on how it could affect you, so you can feel confident with your decision at the polls.
Stay with Spectrum News New York 1 for Decision 2025.